Welcome back. In today's lecture, what we are going to see some problems on the calculus of variations. Okay, so obviously, what we have seen that whenever we are talking about the calculus of variation, at that time we are talking about the functional. Okay, and functional is nothing but the functions of function. Okay, and at that time we are seeing the extremum of the function, extremum of the functional. Okay, so and I have so now what we have to do now, before finding the extremum of the functional, we have to understand similar kind of property that is governed from the calculus, that what is behavior of functions. Okay, because I have told you that if you replace functional by function, okay, and if you apply the classical calculus, then again I can talk about the maxima and minima. Okay, so for that I need some kind of operator that is called differential. And in case of the calculus of variation, means whenever we are talking about functional, at that time we are talking about the variation. Okay, so first I have collected some problem that is from the functions only, and I am going to talk about how to find the differential. Okay, so I hope that most of you are already well aware. So from using definition, I am going to talk about the differential. Okay, one way that whenever we are talking about the differential of some function, and suppose this kind of function is given, but means I have actually retain here some function. Suppose I have this kind of function, and you all are already well aware that differential of this is nothing but what you have to do. You have to apply some kind of a standard rule, then you have to find it. Okay, another way, if I want to use the definition, at that time how to proceed? Could you please tell me that, suppose that if I have to find the differential, okay, and I do not want to use a standard method of the differential. A standard method means what I will do here, I know that t cube, then what is differential of t cube, what is differential of 4, and after that directly I can use the rule. Okay, now someone, could you please tell me, Subham, could you please tell me that if I don't know the rule, okay, then how to differentiate?
Yes, sir.
How to do that? Suppose I don't know the rule. Okay, here I am knowing that differential of 4 is 0 because that is constant. Differential of t cube is 3t square. I know this kind of thing. Suppose I don't know the rule and I have to find the differential. Then how to proceed? Do you have any idea?
No, sir.
So if you see the definition, I have already talked about the definition of the differential. At that time, first I am talking about the increment. Okay, what basically we are doing, we are telling that okay, f t plus delta minus ft you can take. Okay, and after taking this, how one can talk about differential? We have to see that. Okay, so after taking this I have two term. Okay, one term, that term is some kind of linear term, and another term that is not linear. Okay, so we are going to represent by r. Okay, so differential is this term, some kind of linear term. Okay, and that term basically satisfy both property of additivity and homogeneity. In this way basically we are selecting. Anyone has confusion, then please let me know. We have already seen whenever when we have covered the differential. Okay, so let us try to see here that what I have done. I have taken the increment in t, and due to that reason I have written delta t. Okay, any variable is okay here. You can write h whatever you want. After that, what you have to do, since I am replacing the argument of function by t plus delta t, and due to that reason everywhere t is replaced by t plus delta t. Okay, and after that, now could you please guess what is the next step? here it is easy, okay, that I have a plus b whole cube. Okay, how to simplify this step? Shiv, could you please guess? 5 by t plus delta t. Okay, and I have to simplify, and I have to simplify in such a way such that whenever this function, that this combination will come, then I can collect the linear part. Okay, so Shiv, could you please guess that what kind of operation I have to perform here? 5 by t plus delta t whenever I have.
सर 1 + ax के power n expand करके.
So what kind of rule I have to apply here? Are you able to guess? Shubham?
So binomial expansion 1 plus
Yeah,
x cube
Taylor series
and
expansion you can tell. Okay, so you can
yes.
see here that 5 by t and 1 plus delta t, and after that I have just apply this kind of things. Here I have several other term. Okay, I haven't retained that term. Okay, and after that what we have to do, we have to collect everything, and out of this particular collection, what I have to do, whatever term that is associated with delta t, that kind of term I have to select. Okay, I will change the color, then things become more clear. That delta t and delta t is here. So you can see that this term is just associated with delta t, and I have to neglect all higher order term. Okay, so this particular term, you can see that this term is linear. Okay, so since delta t variation is actually multiplied here, okay, and due to that reason, what we have to tell that this is the differential of the function. Okay, anyone has confusion on this? Okay, so for first case, during school time also we are doing same, just we are putting ft plus delta by ft by delta t here. Okay, and if you do, then you can see that exactly we will come up with the same result, because if I will keep this delta t in this side, then that will come in denominator, and after that this is the differential. So same kind of result is appeared here. Now could you please guess for the second problem? Second problem, you can see that first problem is very simple, that function t and in this side, and that is a scalar one. Now in place of t I have two variable, q1 and q2. Okay, so now Bhavita, could you please guess that how to proceed, how to calculate differential in this case? Could you please think, or some comment could you please do?
I think, sir, we can put the value q1 is q1 plus del t.
Delta q1, okay, and after that q2 plus delta q2, and after that what we have to do?
We can expand the whole function f q1 plus delta q1 and q2 plus delta q1 minus f q1 into p2.
Okay, and after that what we have to do? Now how to collect the linear term?
We can collect the delta q1 and delta q2 terms.
So how to tell that which one is linear term? Because now we have two variables.
Sure.
So try to see it. Okay, so whatever way Bhavita has explained, same way we are going to proceed. So here in place of, basically whenever I am writing q, it means that q is nothing but q1 q2. Okay, so either you can write like this, then what happens, q plus delta q is nothing but q1 plus delta q1 and q2 plus delta q2. So that is notion, just notion. Okay, so same kind of things I have done. So everywhere in this function, in place of q1 I have to replace this, and after that you can expand it. And now what you have to do, you have to retain only that term, okay, which is linear with respect to q1 and q2. Okay, and due to that reason, now you can see that differential is nothing but this whole quantity is called the differential. Okay, It means that whenever and due to that reason, we are not putting now that during school time whenever one dimension, then at that time very easy that ft t plus h minus ft by h we are doing. But here if we will do that, then that creates some kind of difficulty, and due to that reason we are just calculating the increment, and after that we are selecting the linear term. Okay, in this way I can generalize for any order. Anyone has confusion? You can see that linear with respect to I am talking about q1 and q2 only. Okay, anyone has confusion on this? Okay,
Sir,
please go ahead.
sir, in differential, we have learned that where h tends to 0, limit h tends to 0.
Yeah,
So here our increment is like del q1 and del q2.
del q2. Okay. Mhm.
These are tends to 0 or not? We
Here,
can
yeah, obviously that is tending towards 0. Okay, delta q1 and delta q2, that is tending towards the 0. Now you have to select what is interpretation of that. Okay, so what we have seen in one dimensional case, suppose you have to calculate here derivative. Okay, so what is physical interpretation of derivative?
the slope.
Slope.
Basically, we find the slope.
Okay, now what you can do, you can consider the three-dimensional curve like this. Okay, suppose you have some kind of ball. Okay, I have to write axis, I haven't written axis q1 and q2. Okay, now and this is nothing but whatever the function I have, main function f q1 q2. Okay, so now could you please tell me that how to calculate calculate differential here? What is geometrical interpretation of that? Because if you're trying to see here, then you can see that several line is going to touch here. Okay, so it looks like that differential is not unique, but you know that that is unique. Okay, so what is basically interpretation? It means that now you have to take increment in q1 direction and q2 direction. Okay, and if you are going to do that, then what kind of shape that comes into picture? Are you able to understand this kind of shape comes into picture?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and now interpretation is same, that here actually I am going to talk about some kind of linear approximation. Okay, so this linear approximation, it means that I have to here I have to take increment only in one direction. Here I have to do take increment using some kind of shape like this. I have to take increment in q1 and q2, and again I have to do the same, delta q1 and delta q2 both tending towards 0. Then I can tell that whatever this linear approximation, okay, or linear functional you can tell. Okay, so this particular linear things where that is going to touch. Okay, in higher dimensional this kind of interpretation comes into picture. Okay, so again in this case also, now this whole surface is going to touch at some point, and there is some orientation of this particular surface. So same kind of interpretation here that comes into picture. Okay, this is the scaling factor and delta q1, and this is the scaling factor and delta q2. Okay, again we are telling that delta q1 and delta q2 tending towards 0, but not exactly the 0. Okay,
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
now I will ask you another question. Okay, Subham, could you please guess that here, whenever I am talking about maxima and minima, at that time I have to put this equal to 0. Okay, so what is interpretation of 0 if df is equal to 0?
Sir, repeat once.
What I am telling that in order to find the maxima or minima, what basically we are doing in first order case, you can see that if that equal to 0, df equal to 0, then I have some simple equation that I have 12 t power 4 equal to minus 5 equal to 0. Okay, so we are putting this quantity equal to 0, then df equal to 0, because delta t is never 0. Okay, delta t is
Yes.
tending towards 0, not equal to 0. Due to that reason only I have one option that this quantity should be 0. Now if you come here, then now I have two quantity. So how to generalize that result for second order case? How to tell? Now I will tell you the answer and then try to interpret. Suppose if I have to put df equal to 0, then delta q1 and delta q both are not equal to 0. That is very small, but obviously not equal to 0. So how to make sure that df equal to 0?
So here we can make many conditions like that. 10q1 plus 6q2 equals to 1 and 6q1 plus 4q2 equals to -1. But means we can take many cases because del q1 and del q2 not equals to
Okay,
0.
due to that reason I have asked you this question. Actually here you can see, could you please tell me that delta q1 and delta q2 are dependent or independent? Anyone? Iram, could you please guess delta q1 and delta q2 is dependent or independent? Dependently I have select or independently I can select?
Independent, sir.
Okay. Now Subham, independently I can select it. Okay. Now I have to put this equal to 0. So could you please now guess the solution? I have two independent vector q1 and q2. So when these two vectors become independent, if this equal to 0, what is the solution? Suppose you have two vectors q1 and q2. Okay, delta q1 and delta q2. When we will tell that that vector is independent? Subham,
So
from linear
basically
algebra,
uh,
from
so we have so we have solved this type of question in matrix equation.
so just answer is very simple. Anchal, could you please guess? I have two vectors and both vectors are linearly independent. Then then what is condition for that? Could you please?
Orthogonal.
Okay, one thing is orthogonal. Okay, that is, but I am asking from fundamental point of view, that from definition point of view. Suppose q1 and q2 are independent, linearly independent vector. So how to make sure? Priyanka? Priyanka, are you here? Nandita? That is very simple, na? Because whenever I have delta q1 and delta q2, that is linearly independent, then whatever coefficient associated with that vector, that should be
So
0. Anyone has confusion? If that is not 0, then that is not linearly independent. Okay, and due to that reason, okay, so what basically we are going to do, whenever we are talking about maxima and minima, at that time we are able to substitute this equal to 0 and this equal to 0. Anyone has confusion? What, why I have shared this kind of concept? Because we have to understand that delta q1 and delta q2 I can vary independently. Okay, there is no relation between delta q1 and delta q2. So if I vary these kind of quantity independently, still linearity will preserve. Okay, and if I have to if I have to calculate that where maxima and minima of in higher dimensional case, then individual coefficient we can put that equal to 0. And due to that reason, always we have to learn linear algebra very carefully. You can see that two things you can interpret from that, because in a higher dimensional space, if you don't learn linear algebra, you are not able to understand that what is geometrical interpretation of derivative. Okay, second thing, you are not able to understand, even if you will solve the question, but you are not able to understand that why we are putting coefficient equal to 0. Okay, that is coming from the definition of linearly independent vector. Anyone has confusion? Okay, it means that df is nothing but linear combination of delta q1 delta q2, that is linearly independent vector. Okay, and whenever we have to calculate the maxima and minima, at that time we have to put equal to 0. Okay, now let us come to the third question. So at this moment I am not talking about maxima and minima, just for means clearing your point, I have come here. Now here I have taken q, you can see that q1 q2 q3. So 3 vectors. So same process I can do like A and B, and after that, so what I am going to do here, I have directly written. Okay, so everywhere now you have to collect linear term with respect to delta q1, delta q2, and delta q3. That is the differential. Okay, so Shubham, in this case, could you please guess that when df equal to 0, and what is reason for that? Shubham?
So same, I think
Yes.
that we have solved previously.
Yeah, same. Delta q1 and delta q2 and delta q3, that is linearly independent. So I can vary it, and at the maxima or minima place, we know that this should be 0. And due to that reason, this coefficient, and this coefficient should be 0. That condition comes due to because we are talking about the linear dependence and independence. Okay. So I hope that you are able to understand the problem because why I have taken this problem. Most of time what happens that students are very comfortable with the scalar case, okay, differential of a scalar quantity, but sometimes they are not comfortable with the vector case. Several times they are not able to understand the definition or geometrical interpretation, that what kind of geometrical quantity that comes in higher dimensional space. In higher dimensional space, how to define or how to understand the geometrical meaning of derivative. So I hope that these 2 points become clear to you. Now let us come to the functional. Okay, so what we are going to do in case of functional, I was talking about the differential. In case of functional, I am going to talk about the variation. Okay, again I have collected very simple problem. Okay, each problem has certain kind of message. Okay, so here you can see that this functional x, that is a scalar one. Okay, only x has one variable. Okay, second place, you can see here that I have x1 and x2, and third place I have some kind of exponential function. Okay, so in order to calculate the variation, could you please tell me, anyone, could you please tell me that how to proceed? Anyone? Litika, could you please tell me that how to calculate the variation? Or Dhananjay? Dhananjay, I have some kind of functional. How to calculate the variation of the functional?
Sir, I don't know about functionals.
So you haven't attended the lecture? Dhananjay, have you attended the third lecture?
Sir, I have seen, but up to this point, I have not in this lecture.
Dhananjay, that is primitive. If you don't understand the functional, then you cannot understand anything. Okay, so what is my request? Please go from lecture 1 to 3. That just discussion lecture. Whatever I am teaching in class, I was talking about. I am not talking about whatever recorded lecture. Okay, functional, I have already defined that functional is nothing but function of the function. Okay, could you please guess why a example what is reflected in the screen, that is functional or function, how to distinguish? Dhananjay,
Yes, sir.
could you able to understand why that is means whatever are you able to see the screen that gx
Yes,
t0 to tf x cube minus x square minus multiplied by x dot, that is function or functional? Could you please tell me the difference between function or functional?
Sir, I think there is differential term, and that's why it is a functional. But
Dhananjay, now what you can
yes,
do?
sir.
All 3 lectures, okay, you can
Yes, sir.
go through all lecture, make note, okay, lecture note, and send to my email. Okay,
Okay, sir.
otherwise I will keep 0 grade to you, because
Sir,
means I
sir,
have
I was absent in the third class, sir.
so why you are not, if all lectures are available online, why you are not going through that lectures? If you are not knowing function and functional, then how do you understand the next part of this lecture? Please go through. You are master student, so you have to take it seriously. Okay. Karan Raj, are you here? Karan? Shikhar Gupta? In this way, I am also making the
Yes, sir.
attendance. Okay. Shikhar, could you please able to distinguish why Jx is functional?
Sir, I think it's going to give some values.
Yeah, actually you can see that t is independent variable. So xt is function, and this is functions of the function. Due to that reason functional, and that map to some kind of real number, because I am taking integral from t0 to tf. So first x cube t, x square t, and x dot t. If I integrate from t0 to tf, some real number comes into picture, and due to that reason that is functional. Okay. X square t if I will take independently, or whatever bracketed quantity if I take independently, okay, that is nothing but some kind of functions. Anyone has confusion on that? Okay. Now what I have to do, I have to calculate the variation. Okay, Shikhar, could you please tell me that how to calculate the variation of functional? Have you understood how to calculate variation of function?
So integrated.
Shikhar, what I am asking, are you able to understand how to calculate the variation of function? Just now I have discussed how to calculate variation. Suppose if you have fx, so I can able to calculate the variation, okay, or calculate the differential fx plus delta x minus fx. Okay, similarly, could you please tell me that how to calculate the variation of functional? Shiv Prakash, could you please guess? Shiv, are you here?
Yes, yes.
How to calculate the variation of the functional? Just definition I am asking. Utkarsh,
Yes, sir.
how to calculate the variation of functional?
Hello, yes, sir.
So could you please tell me how to calculate the variation of functional?
Sir, jx plus delta xt
Yeah,
minus jxt.
yeah, that is very simple. That kind of things I am asking, just asking. Okay, so now you can see that in each and every example I have to do that kind of job. Okay, so what I am requesting to all master student, okay, several students are taking a course very lightly. Okay, so please try to take lectures seriously. Okay, because this is fundamental question. If you are not able to distinguish between function and functional, differential or variation, you are not able to solve any problem, not able to understand any lecture, and due to that reason that is very important to understand. Okay, if you have confusion, then please ask. Okay, I am ready to answer several times, that is not a problem. Okay, so here you can see that first example. What I am going to do now, I am going to do very simple job, x plus delta x minus jx, and after that I am just going to retain the linear term. Okay, how to decide linear term? Those term which is multiplied with delta x, I am going to retaining that. Okay, so I have, what I have to do, I have to again substitute everywhere x plus delta x, and after that just in place of x dot plus delta x dot, and after that we have to associate, we have to select those kind of term which is just containing delta x and delta x dot. Okay, so please now check that whatever result I have written here, that is correct or not. So that is your job. Okay, now let us come to the second example. Second example, again what I have to do, I have to calculate the variation. So again I am going to perform the same kind of operation, but here one trick is that you can see that here x contain how many variable? X is x1 and x2. So whenever I am writing x plus delta x, it means that I have x1 plus delta x1 and x2 plus delta x2. Okay, and everywhere I have to replace this. Okay, and out of that, again what I have to do, I have to collect linear term, means term associated with multiplied with delta x1, delta x2, delta x1 dot and delta x2 dot. So that kind of way I can able to calculate the variation of the functional. Okay, so same kind of things I have done here. You can see that what I have done, I have substitute x and delta x, so variation of that, and after that I have collected the term which contain these four quantity, and I am going to neglect all higher order term, delta x1 square, delta x2 square, delta x1 dot square, delta x2 dot square. Okay, similar kind of things I have done for exponential also. You can see in exponential x and delta x, and after that what I have done, I have expanded this and trying to keep only term, linear term that is associated with that, and if I keep the linear term in form of this quantity delta x. Okay, so if you substitute, and I have used the Taylor series expansion here in order to, because I am getting this kind of things. Okay, 1 minus e power delta x minus 1, and after that I have expanded it. Okay, anyone has confusion? Anyone? Okay, so what you have to do, you have this lecture. Now each and every problem you have to take and you have to do by yourself. Okay, and after that what you have to do, I will create one link, you have to upload there. Everyone have to do that. In this way you are able to clarify, you are able to understand that how to define the differential, or how to define the variations, what is difference between differential, what is difference between variation, how basically differential and variation are related. Okay, now why I am telling that, how that is related, you can see that similar kind of job basically we are performing inside the integral. Okay, so if you understood the differential, it is not difficult to understand the variations. Okay, anyone has confusion up to here? Then please ask me. Anyone? Okay, now let us come to the, once we understood that how to calculate the variation and differential, then it is possible to talk about maxima and minima or extremum of that. Okay, so here you can see that I am not going to restrict the interval. Okay, so first problem, what I am going to do, I have this kind of functions. Okay, now in this particular function, what I have to do, I have to find the extrema. Extrema means maxima or minima. Okay, and during school time you have already learned that whenever I have to find the extrema, at that time I have to differentiate. First I have to differentiate, or differential you have to find. So differential I have find, and I have set that differential equal to 0, and after that what we have to do. Now next step, Priyanka, could you please guess that whenever I have to talk maxima and minima, that is called extrema, then I am getting some kind of stationary point by keeping df equal to 0. What is next step?
Sir, we will putting these values in the first term in the function
Okay,
and then find the value of function.
in this way we are proceeding, and how to tell that that is maxima or minima? There is
Sir,
other criteria.
If the value is negative,
Silpi,
the function would be
Priyanka, you are
maximum.
not correct. You are not telling correct. Silpi, could you please guess how to talk about maxima and minima? So I have calculated the stationary point by keeping differential equal to 0. So what is next step? This is
We have to differentiate again and
yeah, I have to do second derivative. Okay, and if second derivative is positive and negative, based on that I can tell that maxima and minima. Okay, so Priyanka, please revise the fundamental. Okay, so what we have to do, and due to that reason I know that these kind of things is very simple, but what I found that means when one RPEC is going on, at that time examiner is asking very small question, very simple question, but a student is not able to answer it, because most of time they are not giving emphasis on the fundamental. Okay, so d2f by dt square, you can see that I am going to calculate the second derivative. Okay, and what I will do, in some class I will also prove that why whenever I am talking that d2f by dt square, that is plus 1 or positive, then relative minima or absolute minima in this particular case. Okay, relative minima, whenever we are taking relative, means I have function is evolving, but we are telling that relative to other point, this is containing the minimum. Okay, sometime in means school literature, that is also called absolute minima. Okay, similarly what I am going to do, I am going to take the second derivative. So this kind of job we have already done during our school time. Okay, now what I am going to do, I am going to come on the second problem. Okay, second problem, you can see that is little bit different than first one, because in first problem there is no restriction on t, but in second problem I have restriction on t. T should be greater than equal to 0. It means that if you see time, you can take the real number, then now interval is here to here, 0 to infinity. I have to restrict ourselves only in this interval. There is no need to worry about this interval. Okay, and it is possible to show that whenever some problem means for maxima and minima of function, then at that time we have to become very careful whenever some interval is given. Okay, it might possible that some point which comes into picture during the calculation that lie outside of this, so simply you can neglect it. Okay, sometime it might possible that a stationary point means differential equal to 0, that is called a stationary point. It might possible maxima and minima is going to lie on the end point of also, so you have to check the end point behavior also. Okay, if interval is not given, then everything is fine, but if interval is given, interval means subset of the real number, that is called interval. Okay, so here interval is t greater than equal to 0, means 0 to infinity. Okay, so now again what we have to do, we have to calculate the differential. So I have calculated the differential, and after that I am going to keep differential equal to 0. Okay, t equal to half, and similar way I have to take second derivative, that is d2f by dt square. Okay, and this is negative, and due to that reason I can tell that okay, half as a maxima, and this maxima is also global maxima, it is possible to check. But now end point is 0 and infinity, and it is possible to show that t equal to 0 or t tending towards infinity, this whole function t e power 2t, both this function, original function, that is equal to 0. Okay, due to that reason, and you can see that in this, if you see this function, then minimum value of function is 0 only. Okay, and maximum value can, I don't know, I have to do that, I have to calculate, and we have calculated that t equal to half, one can able to understand that what is maximum value. Okay, so due to that reason I have two minima and one maxima. It might possible some function has more than one minima. Okay, at that time, if that is exactly the same, then that is not a problem. Okay, so at that time we are not using word local, we are telling both are same, so global. Okay, but if that is different, then we have to talk about relative minima or maxima. Okay, now try to come on the question C. you can see here that these two problems, so first problem there is no restriction, second I have restriction, in third problem now actually q is q1 and q2, okay, two variable is there. So again now whenever you are going to calculate the differential, then you have to do means fq minus q and fq, okay, and at that time again whatever concept I have discussed in the first example, that I have told you that why delta q1 and delta q2, coefficient of delta q1 and q2 we are keeping that equal to 0 in order to calculate the stationary point. So differential equal to 0 whenever we are putting, at that time since delta q1 and delta q2 is the independent one, independently I can vary, okay. If I have to vary dependently, then this is not true, okay, but delta q1 and delta q2 are independent vector. Due to that reason coefficient I can able to keep that equal to 0, that from the definition of independent vector, that is the reason, okay. At that time I will calculate q1 and q2. Now you can see here that one more thing comes into picture here. I have to calculate the second derivative, and if you are going to calculate the second derivative means or second differential, at that time it is possible to show that now I have to check that is greater than equal to 0 or less than equal to 0. At that time actually matrix kind of a structure comes into picture. So at that time you have to check that some positive definite matrices are come into picture after taking second derivative or not. If that is positive definite, then that point q1 and q2 that is minima. If that is negative definite, then maxima, okay. If you are not able to comment about positive definite and negative definite, then you cannot tell anything, okay. Now question is that how to check positive definiteness of matrices, okay. So those who are mature PhD student or at least master student, those who are actually completed first semester, I know that they are able to understand this, how to calculate positive definiteness of matrices. They have to just check the eigenvalue, okay. If all eigenvalue are positive, then matrix is called the positive definite. Similarly, if all eigenvalue is negative, then I can tell that is a negative definite, okay. And if one is positive, one is negative, then I cannot comment anything, okay. So now what you have to do, you are trying to start with this example and try to see by yourself that why I have retained this matrix when I have considered the second derivative. So this kind of task you have to do by yourself. Then you are able to understand that how to solve the maxima and minima problem of some function in higher dimension, okay. And if you have difficulty, then please ask me in next class, okay. You are not able to get this kind of relation. Anyone has confusion? So now things is very simple. Whenever some function is given, what you have to do, you have to calculate the differential by taking increment, and after that you have to collect the linear term. You have to calculate the stationary point, and you have to take the higher derivative in order to identify the maxima and minima, and their positive definite matrices are involved, okay. Now let us come to the functional, okay. I am going little bit faster because now I have time limitation, okay. Now whenever I have functional, then I have two different way to do or calculate the maxima and minima, okay. Here you can see that end point is specified in each and every problem. End point is specified, and whenever end point is specified, I have already told you that if you are going to calculate the variation of this functional, okay, and if you keep variation equal to 0, okay, so from the fundamental lemma of the calculus of variation, that is nothing but some Lagrangian comes into picture, Lagrangian equation. So you can define this whole quantity as a L, and after that you have to just solve the Lagrangian equation, and you have to solve this Euler equation, Euler Lagrangian equation, dou L by dou x star minus d by dt dou L by dou x dot star equal to 0, okay. And what is L in first example, okay, this whole quantity I can define as a L. So L is function of x dot in this particular example. In some example it might possible that is function of t, x and x dot also, okay. After that, you have to take derivative of L with respect to x and with respect to x dot, and after that simply you have to put that equal to 0. Okay, so now in this example, if you will do that, then this kind of expression comes into picture. Okay, you can see this is nothing but second order differential equation. Okay, if I have second order differential equation, Binay, could you please tell me that how many initial condition is required to solve this equation?
Two conditions.
Two initial condition is required, and luckily two initial condition is given to us. You can see in this particular problem that x0 is 0 and x1 equal to 1. It means that I can able to uniquely I am able to solve this particular problem. Okay, and that problem I am going to now solve. Okay, so I have actually gone a little bit up. So what I have done, first I have solved this. So you can apply any classical technique. Okay, either Laplace transform, because I have differential equation, so you can convert into algebraic equation and then solve it. So what I am going to do, I am not going to tell that how this solution comes into picture. You have to use a classical method, and once parametric solution comes into picture, after that you can just identify C1 and C2 by putting the condition. Okay, so please check it by yourself. Similarly, in second place, now you can see that I have this kind of equation. And again x0 and x2 is given to me. Okay, again now here in this example, this is J, L you can tell, because everywhere I am using same kind of notion. So this is J is whole quantity. So this is nothing but I have L. Okay, so here this whole thing is L, x and x dot, and again you can apply the Euler-Lagrange equation, and once you apply the Euler-Lagrange equation, then you can see again that I have this kind of differential equation that comes into picture. Okay, and again you have similar kind of situation and you can put the initial condition. In this way we can solve. Okay, now third problem is a little bit different. Okay, and here you can see that two variable is involved. I have this unnecessary, this line is coming, so I will delete that line. So please just give me one minute. Okay, so unnecessary. Okay, some problem is there. So now I have this problem. If you see this problem, inside this problem I have two variables. Okay, you can see that I have x1 and I have x2. Okay, so due to that reason, two set of Lagrangian comes into picture, and due to that reason you can see that I need four different initial conditions. So again you have to proceed in similar way. You have to write Lagrangian with respect to first variable. After that you have to write Lagrangian with respect to second variable. Okay, so if you will solve that, then two differential equation comes into picture, and in this differential equation now simultaneously you have to solve. Okay, and you have to put the initial condition. So it is possible to show that I have two differential equation, and due to that reason I have taken fourth derivative, means then this equation comes into picture, and after that again I have taken the Laplace transform, and I have calculated the root. I have written the general solution, and by putting the boundary condition I have solved it. Okay, and this is the solution. So please verify the solution by yourself. Okay, this is the final solution. Okay, so what I am telling, that now whenever you have to solve, I am just coming back to the original question. So question is that some functional is given. So these three functional. Okay, so first function you can see that x squared t, x dot squared t, and initial condition is given. So Lagrangian equation is only there. In second also one Lagrangian equation is there, that is dou by dou x. Okay, of L and d by dt of dou L by dou x dot, and after that what you have to do, you have to solve it by putting initial condition. And but in C this contain x1 dot x2 dot, so I have two variables, so two Lagrange equation comes into picture, and after that simultaneously you have to solve. Okay, so process is little bit, just you have to do lot of calculation is always involved. Okay, now could you please now I am going to come to some question, and after that I will end this lecture. So Litika, could you please tell me that if Jx contain three different variable x1 and x2 and x3, then how many Lagrangian equation I have to solve?
3.
3. And what is total order of the system? So one Lagrangian, 2 second order. Okay, so 3 Lagrangians, then what is total order of the differential equation we have to solve? Second order for one Lagrangian. Okay, now you have told 3 Lagrangian, so what is total order? 2 plus 2 plus 2 means I have to solve 6 order differential equation. Okay, any confusion? And so for that, how many initial condition is required?
3 initial conditions, sir. It was third order.
6 na? Each differential equation is second order.
It is third order, no, sir.
Third order, 3 Lagrangian, and each Lagrangian, if you see carefully, then that is second order differential equation. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So how many order? 2 plus 2 plus 2, 6. Okay. So 6 order means 6 differential equation. Okay. So what you have to do now, everyone, this is the homework. Today I will post 2 homework. First homework, that you have to select one problem, and there what you have to do, you have to identify mathematical model, constraint and performance measure. And after that, whatever today I have discussed, that all questions you have to take and solve, and after that you have to send it. That is the tutorial. In this way your concept become clear. Otherwise, if I will relax this, then what happens, several students will not do the homework. Okay, they will not do the practice, and they are not able to distinguish between function and functional also. Okay, so with this remark, lecture is in from my side. Okay, and if you have any question, then please let me know. So idea is very simple. First you can formulate the problem, and when you get the Jacobian, whenever you get the functional, at that time what you can do, you can take the variation, and in order to calculate a stationary point, what you have to do, you have to solve the Lagrangian equation. And once you solve the Lagrangian equation, then at that time you have to put the initial conditions, and you can come up with the curve. So that curve is nothing but extrema. In this way we can able to do the extremization of some functional. Okay, so with this remark I am going to end the today's lecture. Thank you very much.